I am so angry at the Russell man, I cannot even begin to tell you. One of them agreed to let his daughter marry a duke, even though he had promised her that she could have a love marriage. Instead of blaming himself for letting her marry a stranger, he took it out on his wife. And the other one, although he was the one who lied to the supposed love of his life about going to a house of ill repute, he still couldn't mend things when that woman came to him twice to explain herself and apologize. I mean, at least there was some hope between Larry and Marian, but a separation for the Russells? I was not expecting that after the ball. Let's talk about this incredible episode. Peggy got her Cinderella moment. Jack and Bridget are becoming a thing as we all wanted. Gladys is pregnant as I predicted in my last couple of videos, and we should also discuss what awaits us in season 4, which is already confirmed by the way. Is George Russell becoming addicted to laudanum? What about that lavender marriage between Mrs. Winterton and Oscar? Are we really gonna see a divorce? Let's talk about it all. Peggy's happy ending. If there's any character in this entire show who deserves happiness, it's Peggy, after everything she's been through. I cried with her and her mother during that scene on the stairs when she thought William was abandoning her, and I cheered just as much during that proposal scene at the ball. I was so glad William finally stood up to his mother, and I applaud his father too. He did what he should have done so long ago. Someone had to remind that woman that she was overstepping way too many boundaries. Now, I'm not usually a fan of public proposals because I think they put the woman on the spot, but this time I think William did it right and on purpose because he knew his mother had been spreading gossip about Peggy's past. He had to show everyone that he did not care about her past, that he loved her nonetheless. That public proposal was basically him saying to everyone, screw you, I love this woman, I want to be with her, I don't care about her past. If you've been watching my previous videos, you know I wasn't sure how William would react to the news about Peggy's past because he's been such a new character, but I'm so glad things turned out this way. Jack and Bridget. I actually thought Jack would be invited to the ball. Now that he's rich, I assumed Bertha would invite him, but I guess it was too soon for him. Still, we were right about Jack and Bridget becoming a thing. If you had asked me before Jack became rich who I shipped him with, Adelaide or Bridget, I would have definitely said Bridget, so I'm glad she went to his house after hearing that young ladies were coming to serve him. You could tell she was jealous, it was so cute. I hope this relationship moves forward in season 4. Bertha and Mrs. Astor. I basically applauded when I saw Mrs. Astor arriving at the ball. I'm way too invested in this show. I was happy as if it were my ball and she was my guest of honor. We've been talking about how Mrs. Astor seemed stuck in the past, unable to let her old ways go, but I think this episode showed a big improvement. She's not just an old lady clinging to tradition. She can change and adapt when she needs to, and I like that. The Rhijn Household. We had discussions about what Mrs. Foster was going to say to Agnes, and I was conflicted. I wasn't expecting it to be about the vice presidency. I thought it might be about the house Oscar had received from John Adams, but it turned out to be something else. With Ada now sitting at the main seat at the table, I think the writers didn't want to leave Agnes feeling completely defeated. They wanted to give her something respectable so she wouldn't think she'd been entirely ruined, but I'm so curious about how they will react to what Oscar is planning on doing with Mrs. Winterton. The Lavender Marriage. You might be familiar with this term. It's when one or both partners want to hide their sexual orientation by entering a marriage of convenience. In this case, Oscar wants to hide that he's gay, and Mrs. Winterton, aka Enid, doesn't have anyone else besides Oscar who knows about her past and is comfortable with it. I think this duo will bring as much bite and sass to season 4 as possible. I can't wait for their witty commentary at the balls in New York next season. Will Agnes be happy that her son is marrying a widow with a mysterious past? I don't think so. Will that stop Oscar though? No way. Gladys and Hector. These two are clearly closer now, and Hector seems genuine. Thankfully, my worries about him only being after Gladys's money are gone. It looks like he truly cares about her now, and she's starting to like him as well. The pregnancy will likely bring them even closer. I think Gladys may play a big role in bringing her parents back together in season 4. I'll talk more about this in the season 4 section. Larry and Marian. We've talked about this relationship all season, and honestly, I can't choose a side. Marian was wrong for acting hastily, not trusting Larry, and not waiting for him to explain himself, but Larry was wrong for lying in the first place. He keeps saying, "How can I continue this relationship if the woman of my life doesn't trust me easily?" But let's be real. He knows her past and the type of men she's been with. She had every right to be suspicious. Now, does that mean she has to break off the engagement every time? No, of course not. She was wrong about that. So I'm at a point where I understand both sides. Probably Marian's more, and yes, maybe because I am a woman and currently angry at the Russell man in general. The final scene between them wasn't hopeless. They didn't end their relationship, but they didn't fully mend it either. They realized they couldn't solve it all that night, so I think things ended as well as they could. I'd heard spoilers about an engagement in the finale and I thought it would be Larry and Marian, but I was wrong. It was Peggy and William. Still, I don't think we left things on bad terms with these two. George and Bertha. Where do I even start? I have to say this first. I find George hypocritical. He's been ruthless before, drove someone to suicide in season 1, exploited workers, and nearly killed many in season 2. And this season, he easily discarded someone who had worked with him for years. This might be him being ruthless in business, but let's look at what he did and did not do with Gladys. He promised his daughter she could have a love marriage, and yet he walked her down the aisle to marry a duke she barely knew. Also, why didn't he notice she was happy with Hector? Why didn't he have a single scene with Gladys during or before the ball? Why didn't he say goodbye before leaving Newport, knowing he might not see her precious daughter for months? I mean, instead of being angry at himself, he took it out on Bertha. Now, I'm not saying Bertha didn't deserve some of it. She was ruthless with the Gladys situation, but she was also kind to Marian and tried to mend things between Marian and Larry, but no one wanted to see that. George liked Bertha's ambition when it worked for him and his business and helped him rise in society. But at the ball, he gave her hope that things were fine, and then the next day, everything changed. I think the focus on that laudanum bottle makes me think George might become addicted. For those who don't know, laudanum was a tincture of opium and a major cause of addiction in the 1800s. I will talk more about this in the next section. Season 4. Will George become addicted? The focus on that bottle makes me think yes. I don't want to see George as a junkie making bad decisions, but that seems like a likely storyline. I don't think there will be a divorce right away, probably a separation, similar to Mrs. Astor's situation. In real life, Elva Vanderbilt, who inspired the character of Bertha Russell, divorced her husband over adultery before her daughter Consuelo's marriage to a duke. The show could follow a similar path, George's addiction leading to infidelity, then divorce. Do I want that? No. I want them to resolve their issues. Gladys's pregnancy and happiness with Hector might make George see that Bertha's actions weren't the end of the world, and once he realizes Bertha also helped Marian and Larry, he might soften. As for Marian and Larry, I believe they'll finally get engaged in season 4. Everyone now approves of their relationship, the only obstacle is each other. For Peggy and William, we do not think that Peggy said no, right? She must have said yes. I mean, we're not going to have a discussion about that until season 4, right? I'm sure she said yes. The real tension in season 4 will be with William's mother, Elizabeth, who I doubt will accept Peggy easily. I hope William uses the money he got from George Russell to buy a house in Newport far from his mother so Peggy can write her novels in peace. Oscar and Enid will be fabulous. I can already imagine the sharp-tongued commentary. Gladys and Hector, I think the pregnancy will only strengthen them. And while Consuelo Vanderbilt's real marriage ended in divorce after 2 children, I doubt the show will skip that far ahead just yet. As with the trailer and release date, we have no official news. We don't know when the new season will start being filmed, but considering there's usually a period of 18 months in between seasons, I do not expect season 4 to arrive before 2027. I'm sure we'll get our first teaser next year though. I'll be here with every bit of news, leaks, and BTS footage, don't worry. What do you think of my theories? What did you think of this ending? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to know more about Consuelo Vanderbilt, check out my video.